What is your best joke? I bought shoes from a drug dealer. I don't know what he laced them with, but I've been tripping all day. I took the shell off my racing snail to make it go faster. If anything, it just made it more sluggish. Someone found a hole in the nudist colony fence. Police are looking into it. Guy trying to get hired at a farm, and the farmer says, "Have you ever shoot a horse?" The guy says, "No, but once I told a donkey to fuck off." A man goes into the doctor and says, "I think I have hearing problems, doctor, can you describe the symptoms?" Man, "Sure. Homer's fat and Marge has blue hair." Two fish in a tank, one turns to the other and says, "Do you know how to drive this thing?" My grandfather has the heart of a lion and a lifetime ban from the zoo. Yesterday, I couldn't figure out whether someone was waving at me or the person behind me. In other news, I lost my lifeguard job. Not my original joke. Do you know why divers fall backwards off the boat when they are diving? Because if they fell forward, they'd still be in the boat. A lady walks into a bar and orders a double entendre, so the bartender gives it to her. Three mathematicians walk into a bar. The barman says, "Do you all want a beer?" First one says, "I don't know," second one says, "I don't know," third one says, "Yes." Man goes into a butcher's. Asks, "What happened to your assistant?" Butcher replies, "Fired him." Man asks, "Why's that?" Butcher replies, "Because he was putting his dick in the bacon slicer." Man asks, "What did you do with the bacon slicer?" Butcher replies, "Fired her as well." What's a foot long and slippery? A slipper. What's the difference between an L, a piano, and a fish? You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. Bear walks into a bar and says, "Can I have a Coke?" Bartender says, "What's with the big paws?" Bear says, "I don't know, I was born with them." Why do Norwegian warships have a barcode on the side of them? So that they can Scandinavian. What's the difference between Dubai and Abu Dhabi? People from Dubai don't like the Flintstones, but people from Abu Dhabi do. A Roman walks into a bar, holds up two fingers, victory hand, and says, "5 beers, please." What's the difference between a hippo and a zippo? One weighs a ton, and the other is a little lighter. A photon walks into a hotel and the concierge comes up and says, "May I take your bag, sir?" The photon replies, "No, I'm traveling light." As Mickey and Minnie were before the judge in divorce court, the judge looked at Mickey and said, "Listen here, Mr. Mouse, I cannot grant you a divorce from Minnie." "But why not, Your Honor?" a stunned Mickey asked. "I have reviewed all the information you submitted to the court and I can find no evidence to support the allegation that she's crazy," explained the judge. "Your Honor," Mickey exclaimed, "I didn't say she was crazy, I said she was fucking goofy." A snake walks into a bar and the bartender asks, "How?" A termite walks into a bar and asks, "Is the bartender here?" What do you call a dog with no legs? You don't call it, you go get it. How do you tell the gender of an ant? Throw it in water. If it sinks, it's girl ant, but if it floats. Just read this one here recently and haven't had the right chance to deploy it in IRL yet, so I'm still a bit bemused by it. How many gorillas does it take to change a light bulb? Just one, but it takes a shitload of light bulbs. 3 men, 1 British, 1 Japanese, and 1 American are trekking through the jungle when they're suddenly captured by a tribe of cannibals. They are brought to the chief, who tells them, "We are going to kill you, eat you, and use your skin to make our canoes. However, we will allow you to choose how you die." The Englishman asks for his gun and a single bullet. He loads it, points it at his head, and says, "God save the Queen." Bang! The Japanese man asks for his sword. They give him his sword, he says, for honor, before committing harakiri. The American asks for a fork. They give him a fork, and he starts going to town on himself. Stabbing himself all over his arms, his legs, his torso, he's bleeding like crazy, but he's not dying quickly. Finally, the chief asks what he's doing. The American looks him in the eye and yells, "Fuck your canoes." Two whales are at a bar. On turns to the other and says, "BWWWWHHHHHHARRRRGGGHHH. Be loud with your best whale sound." The other whale looks at him and says, "Gimme your keys, Frank, you're drunk." Two hunters are out in the woods when one of them collapses. He doesn't seem to be breathing and his eyes are glazed. The other guy whips out his phone and calls the emergency services. He gasps, "My friend is dead. What can I do?" The operator says, "Calm down. I can help. First, let's make sure he's dead." There is a silence, then a shot is heard. Back on the phone, the guy says, "Okay, now what?"